So I want to welcome everybody to this special live stream, this special Facebook Live. I have some amazing guests tonight. But basically what's happening is Healthy Start Pittsburgh has a cafe virtual series where we'll learn about the great programs that they have in the city. We're talking about serving people who need resources, who need advocacy, who need help that's around certain areas. If you're not familiar with Healthy Start, I advise you to tune in tonight to find out some more information about two of their awesome programs. Before we go any further, of course, you're on my Facebook page, so you know I'm Merecedes Williams, owner and chief film critic of Movie Scene Queen. I'm also a media manager for Pittsburgh Public Schools, but most of all, a community champion. I want to start with Miss Chaunda. If you can introduce yourself and tell us what you do for Healthy Start.
Hello, thanks for having me, Mercedes. My name is Chaunda Cunningham. I am a licensed social worker and I am the director of clinical practice and home visiting at Healthy Start.
Did I say your name right?
No, but it's okay. I corrected you, boo. It's all right.
Chaunda, we got it.
Ma'am. It's cool.
Names and identities are important. Chaunda, I got you. Chaunda.
And she gets it all the time. So
okay, and I will correct you, but on the slide. It's cool.
We're not doing that tonight. Chaunda, I got you. Chaunda. Thank you so much for being with us tonight. Ta'lor, could you please introduce yourself?
Absolutely. I am Ta'lor Pinkston. I'm also the heart advocate. I am so proud to say that I'm almost 3 years as the Moving Beyond Depression therapist this year, the senior Moving Beyond Depression therapist at Healthy Start. And I love what I do. I love working with our mamas.
So I think it is important to know that you have to love what you do. It's a level of enthusiasm and energy and commitment that comes when you're working, you're actually invested into it. So I'm so glad you ladies are here today. Ta'lor, it even makes me more happy that you said something like that. Chaunda.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about the program that you manage.
Yes, absolutely. So I don't know if it's come out in the series, it may have, but we are in our 30th year, y'all. 30th year of serving families. It is an amazing feeling and accomplishment to just be a part of an agency that can do that. So as far as my role, I oversee our home visiting program. And as far as Healthy Start's existence, starting in 1991, really, we started out with just home visiting. So just being able to go out into families' homes and supporting them on one surface level. But we've evolved so much during these 30 years. We really have created a multidisciplinary team that has certified lactation counselors, that has therapists, that has nurses, that has our community health workers, a fatherhood coordinator, and doula support. So really, we have just a robust amount of amazing people on our team that supports families in Allegheny County, but also we're servicing families in Westmoreland County. We've been providing services out in Westmoreland County for the past 2 years, almost 3 in February. But I mean, and all of that to say, you know, our program is really, it's strength-based. We are a trauma-informed agency that really focuses on what the mission says, improving maternal and child health by reducing poor birth outcomes and infant mortality. And we're not just only talking about infant mortality, but maternal mortality. That's really important because what our home visiting program is, it's a full scope of pregnancy and postpartum support. So we're really looking at it. Anywhere in your pregnancy, you can join our family, as we like to call it, joining us to really be able to help you in your experience throughout your pregnancy and early postpartum up to 18 months of age. And so even though we're focusing on mom when we're enrolling, we also have an opportunity to engage the entire family to be a part of the services that we provide. And when I say that, when you hear home visiting, people are like, I've heard of home visiting programs. I've heard this, I've heard that. Let's just clarify one thing. A home visitor is a very, very intimate job. To be able to be let into someone's sacred place, their sanctuary, where they have their most highest of highs and lows of lows, and that's where they go to unwind or be themselves and their most authentic selves. We have community health workers that are going into those families and supporting those highs of highs and lows of lows with them. And then to add on, the most terrifying for some folks experiences of being pregnant, whether it's baby number 1 or baby number 5, And every pregnancy is different. So to know, and your support system is different through different times in your life. So to know that you have someone that's willing to knock on your door every time to be there for you, to be your advocate and to help you through a pregnancy and becoming a new mom again is awesome. So the idea of us being home visitors, we like to call ourselves community health workers. And when I say that, we are trained in order to help provide education around childbirth, breastfeeding support, safe sleep efforts, literacy. We like to make sure we talk about child safety and most importantly, post-birth warning signs. So talking about that early postpartum stage of mom, making sure mom knows how important it is to go to her postpartum visits. Because again, things can happen, making sure that baby's good, making sure that your support system is there for you, but that they also are educated as far as what you need and what baby needs. So again, our program, we provide case management, but we also provide resources, education, and tangible goods to our families. Our sessions or our visits are more so of meeting mom when she's pregnant bi-weekly. And then when she has the baby, we meet them on a monthly basis. So that could be just meeting with mom. That could be meeting with mom and her partner, mom and grandma, mom and insert whoever is that support person for them. We don't reduce it to just having to be one person because we know it takes a village to raise these kids. And so again, being a community health worker, we're your alarm clock. Sometimes y'all be oversleeping because you're tired. You're running all day, watching these kids, taking care of everything. We might be your alarm clock. We might be, we're your advocate. We're part of your care team. We are a listener to you. We are providing resources. We're a navigator. We're a bridge to provide these linkages of services for you. Or maybe you might have some other systems in place. Maybe you have something with CYF involved. Maybe you have something with another provider that's working with you during your pregnancy. Maybe you've got a doula outside of our program. We want to make sure that we're all coordinating and communicating and collaborating together because we want to make sure that the family's voices are heard as far as what they want their outcome to be as far as their birth experiences. And things aren't perfect when it comes to having a baby and bringing a baby into this world, because that baby's gonna come in the way that they feel they're needed to come into this world. But we wanna make sure that we can help you either heal or be excited or get through that experience and support you in those efforts up into 18 months of age when your baby has said, hey, I made it past one, because one or younger is the most concerning age in regards to infant death. So that's why it's super important that we're making sure we're talking about where is that baby sleeping? How are they sleeping? Do you have a car seat? Do you have a safe place for you and baby? Do you have what you need to care for you and your family? So all of those things are just super important. But again, we are a part of their care team, and we want them to know that we will be your interpreter if the healthcare system is telling you something in gibberish and you're like, what they say? We want to make sure that you're aware and you're informed to make your own decisions. And our goal also is to just ensure that you are your own advocate and that you can sustain to take care of your life of where you want it to be. Goal setting is a big thing for us. And we want to work ourselves out of you not needing us because you've done the best that you can do to support you and your family. So we have the evidence-based practices and approaches that we use. We do the resources. We have a big network of a support that's been able to rally around us and supporting families. And we've got generations of families that we've worked with. But again, within our home visiting program, it's just bigger than just an average home visiting program. And what we're not scared of and not shying away of is understanding how women of color are impacted as amongst health equity and in the healthcare system in regards to having safe and healthy pregnancies and deliveries. We do not shy away from that. We are aware of how much systemic racism is impacting our numbers and our outcomes and impacting what we do and how we are treated. So we also have our team involved to really make sure that they're aware and that they have someone else next to them to go through those challenging conversations and struggles. But that's definitely something that I wanted to make sure that you guys were aware of, because you don't have to have low income to be in our agency. You can have your doctorate. You can work 2 jobs. You can just be you and say, hey, I have all the support in the world, but why would I not want to get more resources or have someone during this scary time in my life? We definitely do our best at Healthy Start to ensure that families, that doesn't matter how much money you make, what job you have, we know that just alone based off of race, that can impact your experience, and whether you feel heard and understood. So just wanted to make sure that you were aware of that.
That's a lot of information to unpack. I have a couple of follow-up questions because I appreciate you. So when you're talking about identity, so it's a 2-part question. How do you identify families? Because you talk about families coming to you and there being no income requirement. Sometimes is there a school that may reference a family, or you know what I mean, if they need your resources, a referral, I should say. Also, when they think about just maternity and taking care of children, period, sometimes the burden or the thought of the stereotype is not on the man. I know you mentioned something about a fatherhood initiative. Can you speak to how you service men and fathers as well?
Absolutely. So within your first question, our referrals come in many different ways. So you can self-referral. Like if you're saying, hey, I would love to be a part of the home visiting program where someone supports me, whether that is face-to-face or virtually, because again, we understand that we don't want to, we want to mitigate as much risk of COVID as we can. So we are doing telephonic or telehealth visits as well to create that support and understanding. But to that, we do, we get self-referrals. Sometimes medical providers will say, hey, have you heard of Healthy Start? I think this could be a great additional resource to you. We have relationships with different partners out in the communities that would refer families. But again, there's a real easy way that if you're interested and you just want to know about Healthy Start, you can go to our website, healthystartpittsburgh.org, and there's information on there, but there's also a button that says enroll, and there is an easy online that takes you 2 minutes to fill out, just asking what's your name, your expected due date, or when you had the baby, and what programs would you want to hear more information about. And based on that, what we would be able to do is we would call that person within 2 days of them hitting that submit button and complete their intake paperwork to then get them directed to the services that they need and that they're requesting. And we also have a phone number as well in regards of providing those services that I can provide to you.
Yeah, I can add it to the comments. And then the second part of the question about the fathers.
Yes. So what we know is that, there are many different supports in regards to perinatal health and perinatal support. And so something that we never want to do is we never want to leave out those significant partners that are involved when it comes to bringing a child into the world, creating a life into this world. So we have a fatherhood program. Our fatherhood program does very similar work as far as case management that our community health workers do, but it's specifically towards the fathers and being able to provide a brotherhood, being able to help, whether it's career planning, whether it's expungement of records, whether it is needing someone to talk to about understanding, hey, I'm about to be a father soon, and I don't know, hey, my woman wants to breastfeed. I don't need to be a part of that. I don't need to know what that's about. Hold on, wait a minute, let's talk about this, because you are going to be an integral part in her breastfeeding experience with this baby. So we provide education, we provide a support system for these men, and we even have additional curriculums that we can provide them in regards to improving life skills, creating different experiences for them in regards of being able to just feel that they're able to be the men that they want to be and really work towards that goal setting. Our fatherhood coordinator, Richard Cobbs, is amazing. He has been in the community for years. He is someone that loves to see Black men thrive and love to see men do their thing. So he is definitely a person that will go out, he'll go boxing with you, he'll play basketball with you, he'll sit and have a group discussion with you. He is a guy that just wants to make sure that you are informed, that you're supported, and that we break the stigma of a Black man not taking care of their kids. Again, we are providing support to all men of all races, all ethnicities. But again, we do see that there are more so of support that we need to rally around men of color as well as women of color in regards to systemic racism.
I think those are really valid points. I remember Mr. Cobb working at the Y when I was there as a kid. So I have fond memories of him telling me to go sit down somewhere because I was probably cutting up. That's another story for another day, another Facebook Live, okay? Let's focus on the topic at hand. I want to thank you so much for sharing your experience, not only managing the program, because it sounds like it's more than a program. It sounds like at this point, it's a lifestyle of resources and connectivity between the community, families, and Healthy Start. So I appreciate you. Ms. Taylor, as you know, the topic about mental health is so big now, especially now during the pandemic than it was now before. And you got therapy you can do online. You got therapy you can do in chat, therapy you can do on FaceTime. You don't even have to have a traditional light coming in anymore. And there's also a lot of other components that come along with mental health other than therapy. So can you please talk a little bit about your program, Moving Beyond Depression?
I sure can. MBD, we are doing phenomenal work for prenatal and postpartum mothers. So I've been in this role for almost 3 years, providing cognitive behavioral therapy. And it's overwhelming to see moms who start off, that pre-assessment session 1, and it's just like, how is this going to help me? Like, not being able to see the end and then get to that final session, that post-assessment, and really look back like, wow, I can't believe that even through my doubts, my worries, my fears, my depression, I was able to come up with some really strong coping skills to manage my mental health beyond the program. And that's what we've seen, over these last 3 years. We have seen moms show up for themselves, choose to be a part of this free therapy program, but choose to show up every time. They don't have to continue to be a part of the program, they choose to. And that alone is just so powerful. So the program is a 15-session model. CBT is the type of therapy that we do. But, I am a self-love therapist. So if you're connecting with me, we got to be talking about self-worth. And it's absolutely embedded in the model because self-care, self-confidence, all of these things are self-love words. And it's so important for, our moms to know that they are enough, that they are powerful, they are capable, they are able to do the hard things. So we help moms not just understand what depression looks like for a mom, how it impacts the entire family, baby, partner, whoever's in that space. Mom is the center, and if mom feels good, it's going to impact her entire household. So we want to provide that understanding of what depression means, and what it looks like, but we also want to really come up with the why. What is happening around you that is causing this impact in your mood and how you're feeling about yourself, how you see yourself. Of course, as Chaunda said, the goal setting is so important. They're setting goals in home visiting. Well, you're setting goals with me too. It is so important to come up with things that you want to work on. One of the things that I love about MBD is the collaboration. Mom isn't just hearing me lecture. It's very non-traditional in that sense because Healthy Start is a family, and as a family with, leaders who will probably look like you, that storytelling is so important. You know, I share with the moms that I work with my own struggles with prenatal depression. You know, there's an intimacy and a connection that's built in that way. So you're working on your goals and you're coming up with coping skills that are going to help you in depressive episodes. You know, so if a mom is diagnosed through our assessments with major depressive disorder, she's eligible for the program. You know, so we go through the assessment process. We determine if there's any exclusions that are very sensitive to her specific situation. But if a mom is unable to work with us directly, we refer out. We're not just going to leave you out here with no support. If we see a need, Healthy Start, like Chaunda said, is going to be that link to another service and support. And we do our best to make sure that every mom feels seen, feels heard, feels valued, because I think that's what's lacking a lot of times. I think most of the moms that I've connected with, the common theme is they feel like they're the only one feeling how you're feeling. You are not a bad mother for feeling disconnected to your pregnancy. You are not a bad person for struggling and getting overwhelmed and feeling anxious and feeling irritable. Like it's common, trust me. 1 out of 4 women in their lifetime experiences some form of depression. And as someone who knows what it feels like directly, as somebody who beat themselves up for not having it all together, I wish Moving Beyond Depression was around when I was pregnant. Okay. Like I wish there was somebody who would meet with me on a weekly basis for an hour and be like, what's up? What do you want to talk about? What's on your heart today? What would you like to focus on? But also have a set structure of things to work on each time we meet. I'm very much in tune to my mom's hearts, but also like, hey, we gotta work on some stuff. Okay. Behavior activation is a part of this conversation. So we're not just venting. I think, you know, mental health has this, I don't want to call it a stigma, but there's just this idea that you come, you vent, and see you next week. Absolutely not. Our model talks about doing things during session and doing things outside of session and coming back and saying, hey, what did you work on? You know, because that's how we build a strong practice with coping. Coping is about healing, not curing. You know, it is about taking these moments in situations day by day. What could you be doing differently to help impact your mental health in a positive way? So Mercedes, I don't know if I answered your question in its entirety.
You did.
But
I want to thank you so much.
Of course.
Everything you're saying is absolutely right. I think that the weight of the shoulders, the weight of the world sometimes sits on the shoulders and backs of Black women specifically, especially when it comes to maternal mental health and when it just comes to the overall totality of taking care of a family. And so one of the questions I had, and of course I got a 2-part and I can repeat them because one's kind of lengthy. Comedian actress Amanda Seales just recently went viral for saying that people, and I think she was trying to more so target towards African Americans, misdiagnose themselves. So they'll say it's not stress, it's not anxiety, it's not depression, or that's trauma, or you know what I mean, that's triggering, or you know what I mean, and it might not actually be that. So how important is it for families that are either referred to you or come to you, specifically the moms, that have that initial assessment to figure out exactly what's going on with them?
We have moms who have had really bad experiences in therapy. We've had moms who have never been to therapy. We've had moms who grew up in households where the stigma that mental health was not something, we don't talk about that. Like, what? Go to church, take it to the Lord, you know, and get yourself together. You got to do what you got to do. And you're absolutely right. You know, that superwoman syndrome, it's very toxic in a lot of ways. Resilience, not to be questioned. Power, sure. Like we have evidence and proof that backs up how powerful we are. but there is a power in vulnerability. And it oftentimes requires putting the pride to the side, putting the ego to the side, and being honest and saying, I need help. We talk a lot about readiness being a major part of the therapeutic process. If you're not ready to be vulnerable, to be transparent, to say, I'm willing to do anything for my mental health, then it's going to be tough. And we do spend a lot of time on Instagram, Googling symptoms. I'm guilty of it too. And we do sometimes take it to Google to diagnose instead of a mental health professional to do those things. And I think as a community, these conversations alone help destigmatize going to therapy and mental health. It is okay. Everyone has mental health. And over the course of your life, you're going to have dips, you're going to have ups, you're going to have plateaus. It's a part of the conversation, but it takes so much for a person of color to trust. And I have to acknowledge that, and I think everyone at Healthy Start is non-judgmental in that way. We know our history as Black and brown people and how we were test subjects, how professionals have abused, mistreated, lied to us. And with that, a lot of the work we do is just normalizing. I might spend the assessment, session 1, session 2, just normalizing that it's okay to talk about mental health. It's okay to say, I have depression. I'm struggling with anxiety. It's just okay to say that. Not every therapist is the same. So I understand those moms who've had these experiences with therapists and counselors and psychiatrists, and it just did not work for them. They didn't feel it was personal. They felt like a number. They just felt like they were just there to just be there so that person could get their paycheck. Healthy Start is doing something different, not to toot my own horn, but I'm here, and I'm a very non-traditional therapist in that sense. I feel very proud and grateful to sit in the seat, but the way I conduct therapy is like I'm doing it right now. It's just like, it's a conversation. It's raw, it's real, it's transparent, and it's honest. And I'm not here to judge, but I am going to give you your truth based on what the assessment shares, and I think we got to get off Google and Instagram, sometimes.
And WebMD.
And WebMD. Yes.
Tries to tell you what's wrong with you. And by all means, Ta'lor, you can go ahead and toot your horn. You guys are both amazing women doing some things that I wouldn't even sign up for the training, let alone going into the battlefield to do the work. So I appreciate it.
I appreciate that.
I don't want to keep you guys too long, but I do have some general questions about how people can get in contact with you. But Ta'lor, I think you said something very important at the beginning of your portion of the conversation. And it was just how there's that umbrella of self-love and how self-care and everything else, self-confidence goes up under that. In your brief description, what do you think self-love is?
I'm gonna try, Mercedes. Okay. Brief description of what self-love is. You know what? Self-love is a choice. Okay. It is a rebellious act. It probably will feel uncomfortable because most of us were not raised in self-love households. You might have seen a little bit from your parents and your elders in life, a lot of confidence, right? Like a lot of, acceptance of self. But in my own life and in a lot of the people that I've connected with, that self-compassion piece, that self-trust piece, the self-empowerment, the honoring and respecting self, self-love is vast and it's deep, but it requires choosing to listen to what you desire, to choose yourself, to say no when you really want to say no, to show up for yourself, not excluding others, and I talk a lot about how selfish and self-love oftentimes get connected as if they are one and the same. And they are absolutely not. Selfish meaning not considering others. Self-love considers others all the time, but I'm my final say-so. I don't wiggle to make other people happy. I don't wiggle to accommodate others. I don't settle for less than I deserve and that I desire. So to make a very long story short, self-love is you choosing you and that being okay. Taking care of you, trusting you, listening to you, accepting you, being kind to you.
I appreciate that answer so much, Taylor. Chaunda, Miss Chaunda, Miss Chaunda, okay? Because I don't want to hear it once it's going on YouTube. I want people to know it's Chaunda. Miss
Yes,
Taylor, Miss Chaunda, I appreciate you guys so much. Before we end this Healthy Start Virtual Cafe series, first of all, anybody who's on this Facebook, thank you so much for joining us. Please feel free to jump into the comments and ask any questions you have. I can connect you with Healthy Start. Thank you for everybody that's on board, the board, the staff, the leaders at Healthy Start. Also, Motor Mouth Multimedia and Heather Hobson. I know Ashley Comans, the first lady of everything, but soon to be the first lady of Wilkinsburg, is helping us so much with this conversation. So I appreciate the fact that women who look like me are spearheading these type of conversations, and we're all here. So without further ado, please tell me or tell us how we can get in contact with you guys if we have some information, if we have a referral, or if I need a service, how would they best get in contact with you about your programs?
Absolutely. So again, our website is healthystartpittsburgh.org. On our website,
I put it in the comments. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So in that on the website, you'll be able to see, you can email, there's an email address, you can email us. There's a phone number you can call that will go straight to our intake coordinators. They'll be able to talk to you, tell you more about our programs, the eligibility. Again, because with our home visiting program, there are specific zip codes that we follow, but at the same time, we will always make sure that you are supported in any way, shape, or form of services that we can provide. Also, you're more than welcome to email me directly. So it's my first initial C, last name Cunningham at hsipgh.org. I am always on my email. I've got numerous emails about questions, referrals, just anything that you have. And again, I do oversee the home visiting program and I oversee Moving Beyond Depression. So again, you can ask me any general questions that you have.
Chaunda's the first go-to, my email is tpinkston at hsipgh.org, but I'm probably going to direct you to Chaunda anyway.
Okay. So Ms. Chaunda C. Cunningham at
hsipgh.org.
Okay. Thank you guys so much. I know you got little ones, so I'm not going to hold up dinner time relaxation no longer. I appreciate you coming out to this Healthy Start Virtual Cafe series.
Thank you, Mercedes.
We have many. You can join the website, on the YouTube page, the Facebook page. We're talking about some amazing programs. But for everybody who tuned into Facebook, like, share, comment, ask your questions, email Chaunda, find out more information about their programs. We appreciate y'all. Peace.
Thank you. Have a good night.